Hello there. Well, it's me again, popping up like an old carbuncle. I'm in Ayrshire, and that's Dundonald Castle. And as you can see, the group of scaffolders that have been following me about the country have got here before me. Almost every time I visit an old building, there's scaffolding on it. Does it never end? Today we're walking the Smuggler's Trail between Dundonald and Troon. It's about 8 miles. I'm actually doing it what you might say the wrong way around, because if you were a smuggler you would be starting at the sea and ending inland. I'm starting inland and ending at the sea at Troon. And there's two good reasons for that, all of which will become apparent shortly. For whom the bell tolls. 11 o'clock and all's well. There's a little church bell dinging there. Another lovely sound. In a leaflet about the Smuggler's Trail that I have had a look at online, it suggests that in the 18th century practically everyone in Dundonald was somehow engaged in smuggling, either directly or indirectly. And you know, this wasn't just a small kind of thing with a guy or a couple of guys in a rowing boat with a little cask of rum on their shoulders furtively sneaking ashore. This was a huge operation involving a whole town. To the extent that a smuggling company was set up called David Dunlop and Company. You know, a lot of money could be made by smuggling goods that would normally have had import duty and taxes applied to them when they were brought ashore. Goods like alcohol and tobacco, and even tea, in fact, because tea was quite expensive back then. I mean, even today, goods like alcohol and tobacco are still smuggled. Not in Dundonald, I should say, but just in general. And you can make a lot of money, you probably still can, in fact. And as I said, I'm doing this walk the sort of wrong way around, because if you were a smuggler, you would obviously start at the sea. You would get off your boat and somehow carry all your booty inland, where you would sort of hide it and distribute it at some point. And while you were sort of furtively sneaking ashore, you would be trying to avoid the excise men whose job it was to stop you smuggling goods. But there's two reasons why I want to do it this way around. The first is that, from what I understand, at one point there's some pretty decent views, and they will be over the Firth of Clyde. So that's going to be that way, so that's the way I want to walk. And also I'm going to end at the end of the harbour at Troon, where we'll find something really very special. I'll not tell you what it is yet, you'll just have to wait to the very end. And don't fast forward this video, you'll get to watch the whole thing. Alright? Excuse me if I just pause for a moment and give birth to a few kittens. This is what happens, you know. You start off on what you think is going to be a straightforward little walk, and it swiftly turns into some sort of nightmare. For me, it's typical. In woodland, there's paths all over the place, and unless you know the area, it's very hard to get an accurate route from your map. And I spent quite a bit of time following the wrong path there. I had to backtrack. I had to ask somebody with a shame. And I'm still not convinced that I am on the right track. Just when I come out of Dundonald, there's a kind of modern little footbridge over a stream, and I turned right at that point, which was wrong because I definitely went the wrong way. And at the moment I'm following a smaller path that kind of leaves just the other side of that bridge. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you're not that far from civilisation. You're not going to get too lost, but the ground's muddy. I'm wearing shoes instead of boots. Right, fingers crossed. It's a nightmare. I keep muttering to myself as I'm plodding along. The word bloodbath keeps cropping up. But no, it's not a bloodbath, it's a mud bath. Mud. And judging by the size of some of the paw prints, I seem to be falling behind a bear. And I still don't know if I'm on the right track. Nightmare, nightmare. The Smuggler's Trail has beaten me. Sometimes you've just got to know when to give up. The path take me back towards Dundonald there. And now I've got a little kind of split, two little narrow paths. I just don't know which one it is. It's time to call it a day. Flapping about in woodland forevermore here. You know, I wouldn't recommend the Smuggler's Trail to anyone until such times as the local authority starts putting up little posts with logos and directional arrows and things. Because in woodland like this, where there's paths all over the shop, maps are almost useless. And you're pretty much, if you don't know the area, you are reliant on signs and things, you know. But I carry on, you know. Anyway, so it's time to call it a day here. I'm going to go down this way. I'll find my way back onto a road because I do want to end at Troon. Might be able to salvage something out of this after all. But my God, Smuggler's Path, forget it. Okay, I'm on the Smuggler's Trail. Confirmation from a cyclist I passed, and I'm heading towards Troon. Thank God. slithering and sliding all over the shop. I mean, that was just ridiculous. I know the actual route. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to include the kind of mega moan that I had just back there, where I gave up. I thought, no, this trail's beating me. Time to call it a day. But I just went down that one of the forks that I God, there's another fork. All right, see, this is what we're dealing with here. Look. Now, at least we're starting to get arrows here. A green arrow, and you could think to yourself, what the heck does that actually mean? It could be pointing towards anything. You know, all it has to say is something like Smuggler's Trail, Troon, this way, or something. I despair. I always find woodland difficult, and you know, anybody would, when your paths all over the place, it's just difficult. And I think I would caution anyone thinking about doing the Smuggler's Trail, because just coming out of Dundonald was, for me, impossible. I just sheer chance that I managed to kind of stumble onto the actual trail there, or else I could have been just wandering around aimlessly in woodland for the rest of the day, trying to find my way out. Oh my God. How did I get myself into these situations? Anyway, hopefully it's all good advice. Anybody thinking about tackling this should perhaps think again. Or if you're thinking about doing it, maybe you should be packing enough food to last a week, just to be on the safe side. There's another wee arrow. I mean, for all I know, these arrows could be pointing towards an ice cream van, toilets, anything. Arrows in the middle of a forest. Holy moly. Thing is, I still don't actually know where I went wrong. I suspect I went wrong. Just as I came out of, just at the edge of Dundonald, it's still where there's some housing, there's that little metal bridge over a stream. I think that is where I went wrong. Jeez, I mean...